Hi everyone, it's Dr. D, and as promised, I've come to you to talk to you about the new updates in Gene SNP. For those of you that didn't get to visit with us at World Conference in Miami, you may want to know that we've made some updates to the Gene SNP program, including an easier to read report. Raise your hands if you've met with a healthcare practitioner that says, I really would like it if someone could do the interpretation for me. Have you met with any practitioners that say it sounds really great, but I'm not really sure I'm going to dig in and learn all of this? Is there an easier way to disseminate the information to my patients? Have you worked with any practitioners that say, as good as the Gene SNP program may be, my focus in medicine isn't primary care, so I'm not really positive how this is going to work with me, my practice, and my patients. I'm a mental health counselor, maybe they tell you, or I'm a physical therapist, and so I don't treat people's elevated blood pressure or their elevated cholesterol. So some of the cardiovascular polymorphisms, I'm not really sure that they're what I need to be focused on. I'd feel more comfortable if I could just talk to them about obesity and maybe exercise habits and some dietary habits that may change body composition or improve their well-being so they can recover from an injury, or the type of care that I offer. Just raise your hands. Have you gotten those types of criticisms or concerns when it comes to the Gene SNP program? Well, we're here to set the record straight. We want those types of practitioners to still be able to use the program, feel comfortable with how they use the program, and not feel like they need to be a geneticist to be able to use the program. And that's what we're focusing on now with the new report, the new tools, and the new resources for your practitioner. nutraMetrix and our team have made it easier than ever. So let me share with you what we revealed to your practitioners at World Conference. There is on Unfranchised Training right now, live for them, a product prioritization spreadsheet. This is something that one of our field consultants helped us work with, one of our regional consultants, Jane Chen, helped us put together. Maintaining a spreadsheet that would help them if at the simplest terms, they wanted just to be able to plug in their patient's results from the laboratory report. By plugging those into the product prioritization sheet, those that want the smallest interventions or the smallest integration of Gene SNP into their practice can simply use her spreadsheet to tell them which products are recommended the most based on the gene polymorphisms results or the Gene SNP analysis results from the lab. You don't need to be a geneticist. You don't need to have fantastic skills to be able to interpret. If the first goal of the practitioner is to know how to prioritize products based on Gene SNP, test, don't guess solutions, the prioritization sheet is perfect for them. And we want to share it with them on unfranchisedtraining.com. The next tier of interpretation comes when you take the editable report. A brand new editable report for the practitioner allows them to take the Gene SNP report from the laboratory and simply mark off each one of the gene polymorphism results that their patient has. By doing this, this new editable report allows them to simply populate a report printable for their patients with only the SNPs that they want to share. Now, why is that exciting? Well, I mentioned that we may have a mental health counselor or a physical therapist or a cardiologist. Each one of them a different discipline with a different focus and, quite frankly, a different type of patient, right? They all have an objective and a priority with that individual, whether it's recovery from an injury, whether it's supporting health in between office visits, including mental health, or maybe we're just trying to find a unique and novel way to work with somebody's triglycerides, inflammation, or dietary habits. Well, the new Gene SNP report allows them to simply click through each one of those gene polymorphisms and pick the ones that are relevant to them. We now have a new updated tool. This updated tool is quite remarkable because what it does is give the practitioner little avatars or icons that tell them this gene polymorphism is related to cognitive health and well-being. This gene polymorphism is related to inflammation, detoxification pathways, and immune function. By doing this and identifying each SNP with one of these unique icons, or a collection of icons, because genes do interact. Those that are related to blood sugar support also interact and can be beneficial should we be able to mitigate them. Beneficial in cardiovascular health as well. So we do see some overlap, and here now the practitioner could start to see some of these icons and say, I'm really talking to my patient about their main objective, which is getting their blood sugars under control, getting their lipids under control, and having more energy throughout the day. And so they're asking me, what do I eat? How do I exercise? The new editable report allows them to simply pick the results that are relevant to their patient, not just based on the results that come back from the laboratory, but based on what the practitioner and the patient have decided to prioritize together. Because we now have these icons that allow them to do this, let me show you how this plays out. The entire report will come back from the laboratory with all of the patient results. That way, the doctor can take in, or the practitioner can take in, the totality of their patient's results, as well as pair that with the totality of the patient presentation. What do I mean by that? If the patient comes in and does have a concern with obesity, does have a concern with cardiovascular disease, does have a concern with nighttime food cravings, right? We now have the ability through this report to identify which of the SNPs from the lab are green, meaning that they are a protective gene. What are they related to? How many of their SNPs are yellow, or meaning neutral? And that's going to allow them to really weigh on what extreme does their patient lie. And then, of course, the deleterious genes, which are going to be found in red. They're going to be able, should they choose, to take that report and identify, I only want to look at the red SNPs, the ones that are very problematic. Let's find out how many of them overlap in endocrine function, in inflammation or detoxification, in cardiovascular health or mental health, right? Based on my patient's presentation, the concern that they may have, or the concern that I as a practitioner have. I now get to prioritize on my own simply by looking through that report. I'm now going to take those lab results and I'm going to plug them into this new editable tool for your practitioner. By seeing those icons, I can focus not now just on the red polymorphisms, not just the ones that may be problematic in my patient, and identifying which ones are linked to common complaints we've already discussed. I now can say how many of them have a cardiovascular moniker or an icon on them. How many of them have an endocrine icon. How many of them have a mental health icon. And because of the new tool and the advances with the help of our creative team here at nutraMetrix, you now can choose just those SNPs to print off. It's very exciting because now the mental health professional can look at just methylation pathways, just sleep pathways or polymorphisms that are related to those factors of mental health, stamina, academic stamina or mental focus, and sleep, and simply just print off those polymorphisms. It's not to say that the cardiovascular SNPs are not relevant or that they don't offer a solution to that practitioner, but right now what we've been able to achieve is a report that is not just customizable, it supports the mission of that practice. It supports the identity even of that practice. No more concerns with the practitioner saying, I am a physical therapist, and so I'm not really focusing on the cardiovascular needs of my patient, but on the physical needs of my patient, on the cognitive needs of my patient. And if as a healthy side effect, their cardiovascular system improves, their endocrine system improves, that's brilliant. But since it's not my primary identity, I want to make sure that I have the ability to give them a customized report based on their chief complaint and the reason why they presented to my office. The reason why this is magical is never before this point has nutraMetrix been able to offer you such a high level of customization. So if you have an individual that is only worried about what they're hearing in the news today about methylation pathways, you have the ability now to only print off and give information about the methylation SNPs in our gene polymorphism or gene SNP DNA analysis. If you only want to focus on cardiovascular health, we've given you a list of the cardiovascular SNPs, so those are the only ones you print off. This streamlines that visit with the patient. This streamlines the discussion or the dialogue with that patient. We can now give in small bite-sized portions, if you will, the ability to tell the practitioner and the patient together, we've got an action plan based on this complaint or this concern or this disease pathway. By doing that, we're able to focus on things like omegas, vitamin D or B vitamins, and how they interplay with not just an individual's lifestyle and supplement and daily health habits, but also how they are related to their genetic blueprint. By doing this, doctors and physicians or doctors and practitioners no longer need to feel like they're looking at a list from the report of recommending 13, 14, 15 supplements and then trying to figure out how to pare it down to the most important. You can start with the simple steps of using the prioritization spreadsheet and look at how many times vitamin D comes up and just start there. If you want more information, you can take the lab results and plug them into the new editable guide and only focus on the SNPs that are relevant to your discipline of medicine, focus on the SNPs that are relevant to the patient presentation, and work within smaller pieces of the entire gene polymorphism test or the genetic analysis that gives you insight to 61 gene polymorphisms or 48 different genes. If that feels like a lot to bite off, how about we focus on just the ones that are relevant to the way your patients present so that you have active talking points. In addition to that, you have reasons to bring them back to talk about other health factors. We do know that some of these health factors or some of these health journeys that our patients are on come up with obstacles, including compliance. And we believe at nutraMetrix that this is one of the ways that we can improve patient compliance and adherence, by simply giving them the information that they're seeking today and having more information once they get further in their health journey. If you want to take it one step further, this editable guide can look at every one of the gene polymorphisms in the analysis. It can segregate them out into those that are related to fitness, segregate them out into those that are related to blood sugar health, those that are related to detoxification, immune function, and inflammation. By doing this, you get to, as a practitioner, choose how you want that report delivered, because the report will populate based on how you choose to demonstrate or how you choose to have it print off, based on heart function, based on endocrine function, based on presenting complaint or presenting concern, maybe just based on your focus of medicine. We couldn't be more excited than what we've been able to do. We are in the middle of a beta with this tool, giving it to practitioners that have a lot of experience with Gene SNP, getting their feedback back, and then changing the report based on that field feedback. I want to tell you, even though this isn't going to show up all that great in our Facebook Live together today, but I want to show you what this new report looks like. It's quite exciting because we now have not just the gene that the individual is going to be looking at, the description of what that gene's mechanism is in the body and how it relates to other gene polymorphisms, but the segment is rated in factors of health that are relatable to the physician or the practitioner. So it speaks in very physician or practitioner terms here. Then there's a segment that is related to the patient. And what type of take-home messages do we want the patient? How do we help them understand doctor speak? And then the last part of the new report tells them, both the practitioner and the patient, what type of steps they need to take, whether it's a focus on sleep, whether it's a focus on endurance style exercises, whether meditative eating practices would be of benefit to them, whether or not they need to ditch the carbs and start thinking about the healthy fats that are available through things like nuts and seeds, right? Where are they going to want to focus on composition of their diet? It also gives them some fun pictures, sometimes not so fun, sometimes some great ideas about what to eat. But it gives them some visuals as well to help them identify. I identify with that woman grabbing her belly and saying, why can't I lose this trouble zone, right? So it gives them some tools to do, to really say, yes, that's me, that works. When we're able as practitioners to show patients that this gene analysis really shows them some relevant information about themselves rather than an idea of a one-size-fits-all, but something that's very unique to them, we know that we're going to improve patient adherence. Some other tools or other points that we've made part of this new guide are bullet points that are on the side. And these are specifically for the practitioner. It helps them in a quick notice or at a quick glance to be able to do a report of findings with their client or their patient, saying that this gene is related to elevated LDLs or low HDL. At a flash or at a glance, be able to say, this gene is related to childhood obesity or poor sleep habits. And for that reason, these are going to be some of the things that we focus on. We've tried to do everything we can to make this tool easy to interpret, easy to print off, and easy to customize for the practitioner. By doing this, we think that we're going to start to see your wellness program really take off, guided by the Gene SNP analysis. We couldn't be more excited, as I said. This will be going live very quickly. We'll get all of the information back. In fact, we got our beta test finished just yesterday with everybody sending in their input. This weekend, we'll be putting and compiling all of that together, putting it together in a live presentation that I'm going to be doing with some practitioners so that we can really fine-tune exactly how this tool needs to work for them. After we're able to do that live workshop this weekend with 12 chosen practitioners, I'll then come back to you and share what we learned and give you an estimated date for when this big tool is going to go live for you. How about we take this Gene SNP Facebook Live for our nutraMetrix consultants and practitioners that decided to join us today and open it up for questions. Here's the big thing. What we're going to need to do at this point is you're going to need to give me some flexibility. I was on camera today. Here. And that means I didn't put on my glasses. What? It means I can't see you. So what I'm going to have to do to answer your questions is get real close and then far away where I'll talk to you in my office voice, and then get really close and read it, and then I'm going to have to get back here and give you my office voice. Okay, so let's see what kinds of questions you guys have. Yes, Susan, thank you so much for being a part of this. Susan Markowitz is one of our top HPs and one of our top performers with Gene SNP, and she had the opportunity to review this analysis, this new guide, the way we have it, and give us some insight for how it would work best for her practice. So thanks so much for your efforts helping us, Susan. Let's see how we can get some of your questions. Jonathan, I wish we were going to be able to see you this weekend. Really, it's going to be so fantastic for your practice and what you've told us you need. So, Jonathan, I wish that you had been able to make it this weekend. We'll make sure to get you involved in the next one. I'm just getting a lot of love. I appreciate all of your love. How about some questions, you guys? So I've got someone's saying bring them on camera. Do you want the report on camera again, Renee? Renee Carlson was one of our mental health practitioners that was able to give us her insight to how something like this might work. Is this what you were looking for, Renee? There's no point in answering because you're going to get buried in the comments. But you can see how incredible they are, giving them some ideas about foods to eat, what a balanced plate might look like, some insights into, in this case, family fitness. Not because your genes tell you that you need to work out with your family, but that in fact that you have genes for physical activity and the types of activities that you need to be doing. It's really quite exciting. Let's look at some more of your comments. Will somebody write in and tell me what bring them on camera means? Like 400 of you said bring them on camera, and I don't know what that means. One of our practitioners, Holly Greif, is on the line, and she agrees. It is so easy to read for everyone. Holly and I are working with the practitioner on the West Coast. One of her sticking points with Gene SNP was the length of time it takes to interpret the results. So we helped her with this new tool, work through it, and see how she could take these new bite-sized pieces and make it work for her acupuncture practice. You're so funny, Renee. I don't know if it's that button. I'm not with you. I'm not on your camera. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for being a part of this Facebook Live. This will go ahead and go live so that you can share it with individuals. This will stay in your group there so that you're able to not just share it with individuals, but go back and review it and get some of our finer points that we shared with everyone at World Conference. And what I would love for you to do is to help me make this project better for you as a nutraMetrix consultant. Share your comments, share your questions, and I'll continue to come back to this video and share my answers. Thanks, everyone.